All right, friends, let's talk about using tempera cakes to paint your Romero Britto style bat. So you have a tray of tempera cakes. These are called tempera cakes. And each of them is in its own little cup. And normally they would be dry, but I have been practicing the painting. So you can see they're a little bit wet. They have a little bit of water on them. So what you're going to decide in just a second is, do you want your bat to be cool colors and use warm colors in the background? Or do you want your bat to be warm colors and use cool colors in the background? Whichever way you decide, you stick with that. So if you say, I'm going to use warm colors in your bat, then you have to use all warm colors in your bat. And then you would use all cool colors in the background. Or the opposite, you use all warm colors in your background and all cool colors in your bat. So totally up to you, but kind of stick with that when you choose. So I've made a little color chart over here so that you can see what the paint colors are. When you look in here, you may go, wow, I don't know which one of these is red. But when you look at sort of the splatter on the inside of the cup, you can see truly what the color is. This one that looks like a dark red is actually magenta. It's actually like hot pink, that one right there. So, and there are two that both look like orange. One is lighter and it looks kind of peachy. So, you know, just kind of keep that in mind. So you have warm colors, you've got 5 of those, and you've got 4 cool colors. The 2 blues, one is a little bit lighter, and that's like your true blue, and then one is more like teal. It's got a little bit more green in it. It's a little darker. So when you look at those, this is the teal and this is your regular blue. So just to let you know what you have to work with. So I'm going to finish showing you on this bat right here how to use this paint. So you have a large container of water. You're going to have a brush, and what you need to do is you only take out one paint container out of the tray at a time, and we're going to leave the tray in the middle of the table, and you have your paint in that little cup. Don't take it out of the little bitty cup, but you can take it out of the tray and sit it beside you while you're working with it, okay? And then when you're done with that color, you put it back and you get a new color. So what happens with tempera cakes is normally they're dry and you have to add water. So what you're gonna do, kind of scoot this over so you can see, is you dip your brush in the water and then you add a few drops to the top of the little tempera cake, and you can see right there I added a few drops. And here is the key to this whole thing. Do not press down with your brush. Do not dig with your brush. Don't press down with your brush. This part needs to be done very gently. So remember, you hold your brush like a pencil. I need for you to stir this very gently to activate the paint with the water, and you can see that I have paint loaded into my brush. So I am going to paint my bat's head, and when you're painting something with a lot of detail like this has, just use the tip of the brush and you're barely touching the paper. So you are not pressing down at all ever when you're painting or when you are getting paint out of the container. Now, let your black lines be almost like a wall. So you don't need to paint on top of the black. We want to stop at the black, and try not to get paint all over that black, because that black is like our outline and we want it to be sort of clean looking if we can keep it that way. So I just painted the head. Now let's say I was done with that green. Now if I wanted to, I could use green somewhere else in my bat, but I've already got it kind of filled in. So I'm going to show you, because I wanted to put teal in the belly and teal in the ears. I'm going to show you how to clean your brush. So when you're done with the color, you put the cup that you have back in the tray and you can get your next color, but do not dip that dirty brush into that next color. You need to rinse and listen for that sound. Okay, So as you rinse, you're cleaning all of that out. Now, take your brush, take the water, put a few drops on top, stir very gently to activate, and then you continue painting. And what's going to happen is, as this little puddle runs out on top of the paint, you're going to need to add a little bit more as you go. Now, this still has a puddle on top, so all I have to do is just touch my brush to it to get a little bit more to keep going. I don't need to add any more water because there's already a puddle on it. When the puddle goes away, that's when you add a little bit more water. And remember, do not stir this like continuously. You only need a little bit, so you can dip your brush in. You can just kind of very gently brush up against that paint and then continue your painting. The thing about tempera cakes is they are supposed to kind of look like watercolor, so they are supposed to be see-through. So when you paint on your paper, you're supposed to be able to kind of see through the paint, and it's not supposed to be thick and opaque. So you need to be very careful that you don't put too much paint in your brush. And once that puddle runs out, you dip and get a few more drops and add on as you need to. Okay, so I'm going to rinse my brush, and I am going to kind of sit this down so that you can see what this looks like. And I had a little puddle right here, I can see, and I sort of messed that up. Let me see if I can take my clean wet brush and smooth that out so I get rid of that little mistake right there. Okay, so now you can see this is what this looks like, and how to use this. And I'm going to be walking around and checking and making sure that you are using this correctly and you are doing all of the proper things that you need to do to use this paint. And that includes not pressing down with your brush.